Drinks at the Doll, a podcast way station for Lost Girl fans. I'm your host, Stephanie.
And I'm Annie.
And I'm Chris.
And in this episode, we are following up on DragonCon 2015. We did a preview episode before it, and now we are sharing all of our awkward moments from DragonCon.
You start out awkward enough already.
I just already feel awkward thinking back. I'm just...
Because I made her look at the picture again.
You did.
What picture? Oh, I haven't seen this picture.
No, you have. It's our great photo op.
Oh, that,
that later. But we are being joined by Kevin Batchelder, Mr. Woo DragonCon himself. Can I call you that?
Yes, Woo.
Mr. Woo DragonCon?
Mr.
Yes,
Woo
I like that.
DragonCon.
Okay.
Kevin is one of the hosts over at Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV, and he also has his own Lost Girl podcast called The Fae Files, which you should check out.
Lovely to be seeing all of you ladies again.
So
It's
how
been
was
so
your
long,
con? I know.
Yeah.
It feels like it has. It's like
It
doesn't.
kind of
It
does,
doesn't.
weirdly.
It's kind of a blur. This was kind of an intense DragonCon. This was our third, but this was, I think, the most panels we've done, and we did a live Drinks with the Doll podcast, which was kind of crazy.
And you guys did other panels.
Mm-hmm. Lots of
You know,
other
you
panels.
two, you three, yes.
Kevin
I
always
did
does
one.
lots of panels. He did fewer panels this year, actually.
Yeah,
And how
had to
many
build
is
in more
fewer?
time for Lost Girl stuff.
How many is fewer, though, Kevin?
9.
Right?
Yeah, I think it was 9.
Okay.
Which is
Taking it
more
easy.
than Stephanie and I did combined, but
So let's get started. I thought we might, because Chris was showing the darn photo before we started, but I thought we'd start about talking kind of about our personal encounters with the Lost Girl cast at DragonCon, because Anna Silk was there. Oh my God, Anna Silk was there, and she's amazing. And
She is.
it's just, you get within a few feet of her. I wasn't even that close to her. Like at a panel, I was sitting maybe, 30 feet away from her. I could just feel the delightfulness washing over me as she smiled.
I was saying, like, I've always said that Anna Silk is a delightful angel, and now having met her, I can confirm that she is, in fact, a delightful angel.
No doubt. No doubt.
So y'all actually kind of went and saw Anna first together, didn't you?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's all a blur right now.
blur
It's a
for
happy,
Annie for sure.
amazing blur.
I remember it. We did.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You and I did. Yeah, God.
And Kevin was with us?
And
Do
Kevin.
you remember Kevin being there?
Yes, I remember that. Now Kevin should tell his side of it.
Yeah, it was.
First.
We did. We headed down as soon as the Walk of Fame area opened on Friday afternoon and just ran to get in the line. We were very pleasantly surprised it wasn't that long yet. But we were, Annie, you were a little bit ahead of us, but we were like at the corner, the way they had it set up, she was like a corner table. So we couldn't see her at first. We were, around the corner and everything was fine until someone moved one of those things and I could actually see her like 10 feet away, and then all of a sudden I wasn't as calm as I had hoped I would be.
Everything got a little hazy. Yeah.
Kevin turned to me and mouthed, "Oh my God."
I don't remember that. I was in my own haze.
Yeah, you were busy trying to not hyperventilate at the
Oh.
time.
Yeah, you made me feel a lot better, Annie, because you were so much worse than me.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
And I mean that in a very caring way, but Chris
Yeah, I
Chris
know.
was our
I
total
usually
rock
am.
because she kept the two of us from like floating out the door. We were so...
Yeah, literally, because at one point I lost my footing and she caught me. So, yeah, she was my rock.
I don't remember that happening, but okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like you, Chris. It does sound like you. And here Chris was the one threatening to cry all over the place, and you didn't actually cry when you...
It wasn't a threat. It was just that every time we
It
talked
wasn't a
about it,
threat.
I would tear up. And somehow that is not what happened on the day. So I don't know what happened.
Not
It's true,
surprisingly,
though.
I cried all over the place.
We were driving to DragonCon, Chris and I, we road trip together, and we were just talking about the fact that Anna Silk was going to be there, and I look over and I see these tears welling up in her eyes. But she didn't actually cry.
She was
I
great.
don't know. I don't know if
Yeah.
I'm proud of you or just I'm surprised, I guess. There's nothing
I'm
wrong with
surprised,
crying.
too.
I'm just surprised. Yeah.
I got a little emotional talking to her. I didn't actually cry, but anyway. I got emotional, and then Anna got emotional, and then Anna stood up and hugged me, and it was nice.
So what did you talk to her about? If you want to share. You don't have to share.
Should we start with somebody else?
Yeah. Kevin?
No, because, well, here's the deal. Because part of what I talked to her about was, like, led into by Annie, because Annie talked to her first.
Ah.
Yeah, I apologize. Well, Chris is probably giving me the stink eye right now because I was
What? No.
no, because I was like I told her about I told Anna about the podcast. I says we do a Drinks with the Doll podcast, and we really enjoy it, and we've made friends because of you. And I gave her our card because we have business cards, and she goes, "Oh, I'm gonna put this in my purse." And I was like, "Oh," and I said, "And this is my co-host Chris." And I grabbed Chris by the shoulder and said, "Hi, here, come over
And
here."
I kind of gave Anna a little wave.
So yeah, I kind of dragged Chris into it, but yeah, she is lovely, and so just I can't even explain it. She just really gives everybody her full attention, and you can tell she's listening, and just and her, and it's tiring for both fans and guests to be there for 4 days, but she just never waned in her enthusiasm and her, again, the detail, the care she gave everybody who talked to her. I really, really appreciated that, and that goes for everybody.
Yeah, I noticed this was not on Friday. It was a separate time when you went to go talk to her, Annie. But I kind of was we weren't in line together, but I was in the line and was near where you were when you were talking to her. And just like the amount of eye contact that she gives you, you can really tell that she's listening to you. And yeah, she was a really, really lovely to meet.
Yeah, the same way. It's just so natural and so at ease. I mean, she started the conversation before I had even, said anything, which was great because I'm bumbling on what I might say. And she started it off, and, I thanked her for coming to the convention and how wonderful it was. She talked about how great the experience was, and it was only, an hour old or something for her at that point. And like you said, it was the eye contact, the smile, the natural comfort level. She just made everybody comfortable. I mean, we really, Chris and I were noticing, too, that, Annie was having such a great conversation with her, and so did so many other people. That's part of the reason why the line moved a little slow, was because she wasn't pushing anyone through the line. It was, whatever everybody wanted to talk about, quickly or not, she was glad to do it. So it was so awesome in that experience level.
It is one of those things where you're thinking, like, I'm sure the people in line are kind of annoyed just because they have to wait, but then, like, any annoyance goes away immediately as soon as you get up to the front of the line, because you can talk to her, take a couple minutes and actually talk and get your quality time in, I guess.
Yeah, and that certainly does not happen at all cons, so it's just really, really special that Anna did that, and I really have to commend her because she ended up staying an extra day when she wasn't scheduled to, because I think I heard that she heard that people weren't able to get her autographs or get through the line. So, and I asked her about it on Monday, and she goes, "Yeah, so I figured why not, And I was like, "You're so nice, thank you." So
It was also really nice that they had originally said she wouldn't be doing photos at the table just because she wanted to be able to spend time with people. But then I was really happy on Saturday. I heard that she was doing pictures at the table. And I remember because I texted Kevin about it, and he texted me back. He's like, shit. Like, ran over there. And suddenly he was in the line behind me. I was like, how did you get here so fast?
Yeah, I was totally in the, oh my God, I can't miss this, and how quickly can I get there?
Yeah.
To do that and fit it in between a million other things. So, yeah, that was an opportunity I did not want to miss. So I'm ever grateful for you letting me know that they had switched that up and were doing that. So, yeah, it was great when, I came down just to do the selfie. And, even Anna had a little fun with it because I got at the front of the line, and she's like, oh, you don't want an autograph? I go, yeah, I'd like about 100, but I already got one yesterday. I just wanted to be sure I didn't miss my chance to get a picture with you. So she had fun with it then as well. So, again, it's just so natural.
Yeah.
So Chris, did you want to talk about your encounter with Anna now that Annie has spoken?
Sure. Well, what it was, because Annie had already sort of introed me as her Drinks the Dog co-host, so I was telling her that, that basically she and, well, Bo and she as Bo were sort of essentially the reasons that I became part of the Drinks at the Doll team, and So then I got all kind of sappy, and I'm just waiting for Stephanie to roll her eyes at me. But I got kind of sappy and told her that, she kind of changed my life, so thank you. And that's when she got sort of like, oh, and hugged me. So
Yeah.
I never get hugs. It's my cold, shriveled little heart, I guess. I just don't get
I told you,
get
I'm pretty sure
emotional.
the only reason I do get hugs is because I just...
Pity.
Pity, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I emotionally go off, and yeah, gets me hugs. Yeah.
Yeah, I when I went to go, I only went through her line once because my back was bothering me, so I didn't stand as many lines as I would have usually. But I went through her line once, and the day before at a panel, somebody had asked her, what are your favorite scenes? And she was like, I just can't choose. There's so many. And so I said, one of my favorite Bo scenes is when she's drunkenly talking on the telephone, leaning on a donkey. And, and she giggled. I know, and she giggled. She was like, "Oh, that donkey was so sweet." I was like, "Can I lean on you?" I just imagined her talking to the donkey, asking the donkey's permission to lean on her, because it just seems like something she would do.
Totally.
But I did have a very embarrassing moment when I went to go get my picture taken with her, because she was like, "Oh yeah, we can do a picture." And I handed her my phone. She's like, "I'm terrible at taking selfies. Do you mind taking it?" And she's looking at my phone. She's like, "Yes, but you'll have to unlock your phone." And I realized the photo that was on my lock screen was a picture of her from like 502, where she's in that black dress and she's sort of stepping out of the darkness. I think it's a great photo. But so she's looking at my phone. She's like, "You need to unlock it because all I see is me."
It's the greatest thing I've ever heard, Stephanie.
I know.
So embarrassed. I was just like, oh my god, that's embarrassing. My friend put that on there. My friend did not put that on there. Like,
So Stephanie tells me I changed my lock screen photo right away after that.
She did too, yeah.
I did. Because I realized I had actually got my picture taken with Rachel before then. I was like, oh gosh.
Maybe it's a good thing I keep my cat as my lock screen photo.
Probably.
Actually, let's segue this into talking about meeting Rachel, because tell everybody what Rachel said.
I did the same thing with my phone, saying, "Can you take it? I'm terrible at taking selfies." And I was like, "Oh, I need to put in my code for you." She's like, "No, you don't. If you did, how would I be able to take pictures on other people's phones without them knowing?" And she just, because I forget, you can just kind of flip up that little screen at the bottom of your iPhone, and there's a camera button. But I just love that idea of Rachel going around stealing people's phones and taking pictures, because I could totally see her doing that.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
was going to say, she does.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny because I swear, she took about 6 photos when we did our selfie together, because I said, can we do a smiley face? And then I said, oh, can we do the Rach face, a silly face? And I came back.
You got a good one. I like the Rage Face one a lot.
Well, I came back and there was this whole progression of photos. Not only were we smiling and then we're doing a silly face, but there's all this progression of me laughing because she's still taking the photos. I'm just like, oh, it was great. So, but yeah, she kind of scared me a little bit because I showed her. I said, well, I have to admit, I'm Team Docubus, and I rolled up my sleeve and I showed her my Docubus tattoo, and she goes, oh, fine, I see how it is. And she gave me the look, and I swear, it's like she can do the Valkyrie look on you, and she doesn't need makeup. It's quite scary. So, I mean this in the best of ways, and I was like, oh crap. So,
I mean this in the best of ways.
well, you know what I mean.
She's terrified, but it's great.
Yeah. So yeah, it was funny.
It was nice. I actually got to chat with her for a few minutes because I happened to come at a time where I was at the end of her line and then there wasn't anybody behind me for a little bit. And so I was like, okay, I have a question for you. It's really fangirly. You may not remember this episode, and that's okay. Because I always over-explain when I get nervous.
Yeah.
I had the problem of I didn't wait in line with Chris this year. I was by myself, again, because my back issues. And so I realized, it's better if I have somebody in line with me because then I'm reminded of how to interact with human beings before I go and try to talk to them.
See, I should have gone with you, too. I was awkward talking to Rachel, too.
Well, I was super awkward with...
It wasn't great.
Yeah.
I was less awkward with Rachel because I had been waiting in line, in Zoe Palmer's line actually, for a while next to Somewhat Addicted, and we were chatting. So I was better with Rachel, but not great. Not great. But anyway, so I asked her about in Delinquents, where Tamsin is Delinquents, right? Yeah, where Tamsin's collecting all of the hairs to put in the bottle, the room glass bottle, and she goes to Lauren's and she kind of turns on Lauren and she gets really mean and Lauren ends up slapping her, not snapping her. That would have been a completely
that would have been bad.
A West Side Story showdown.
Oh yeah. And so I asked her like, why do you think Tamsin got that mean? And she's like, well, I think, the writers were leaning toward Tamsin's infatuation with Beau, and it was just, from her jealousy with Beau, and we kind of chatted about the fact that when she was originally put on the show, they had planned to hook up Tamsin and Dyson. I was like, I know, I'm sad that they didn't make it. But anyway, she was really nice and personable, and I also had a moment, again, because I over-explained, because when I was talking about the episode, I said, it's the episode where you are going around collecting. I'm like, Tamsin's going around and collecting. I know you're not Tamsin. She gave me this, smile, like, oh, you're cute.
And she's probably also thinking, is there a point to this story?
Yeah, exactly. But she didn't hug me, but really. She gave me a great handshake at the end of our conversation. I felt like she felt that she was pleased to have talked to me, or at least found me somewhat amusing because I'm pathetic. I don't know. I'll take it.
But you didn't get a pity hug.
I didn't get a pity hug. It's true.
I collect pity hugs. But speaking of delinquents and the rune glass where she's collecting hairs, I had a replica of it that I got off of eBay quite a while ago, made by Brash Sculptor, who does replicas of Lost Girl props. And I took it with me in the photo op. That was the first time she'd seen it. She was like, oh, and pretended to put it in her back pocket. I said, no, can you pretend to throw it at me? And because I was in my Beau cosplay that day. And I said, can you pretend to throw it at me and I'll do the tingly touch. So we have a photo op of that. And she told me later, she goes, that room glass looked better than the one that we had on set.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, but yeah, I gave her, I had a shot of the shot where she's in the tub, which is a series by director T.J. Scott, where he photographs, various celebrities in a bathtub, but it's all for breast cancer research charities. And so I handed her a shot of one of that photo shoot, and she goes, yeah, this was great, but it's like we did it in 15 minutes. So, and he gave me some of the best shots I'd ever seen, but she goes, he's so lovely and he's great. And I said, yeah, I love this series of photo shoots. So yeah, we had a nice little chat over the couple of days, and she very sweetly, because I went up to her the first day and I said, I do a podcast called Drinks at the Doll, FYI. And she goes, oh yeah, I've heard of you guys. And of course I went, oh shit, really? And I just end up swearing because I'm so nervous.
At least you didn't say you were actually shitting yourself.
Yeah. So, but she very sweetly wrote on my autograph. She goes, thanks for all your works at Drinks at the Doll, without me even saying anything later. This was later in the con, so that was really nice. But yeah, she's lovely. I was thrilled to meet her and have a conversation with her.
It was also great for me to at a few points just stand back and watch, since they were all sitting in a row, to sit back and just watch the experiences other people were having, because as you ladies know, and many of you that are listening if you were there, this set of people is so interactive and so spontaneous and so happy. I mean, no disrespect to some other very nice celebrities that sit behind their table, a very reach out and very basic handshake, and that's the experience. I mean, these folks were, leaning on the table, leaning over the table, coming out, poking fun at each other. So just watching them all for several minutes, and some of the different fans and how excited they were when they came away from their turn. I mean, that was just a lot of fun. The energy of seeing all that was just very cool, and you could tell how much fun everybody was having, both us and the cast. I mean, yeah, it's long hours, but they were just having a blast doing it too.
Yeah.
Oh, and you guys remember the cheer that went up when it turns out, I think we were in Anna's line together. it turns out that was Zoe had just gotten there.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Everybody was
Yeah.
just so excited that she was here finally.
And I was all, and I just, God, that first encounter with Zoe, I was such an idiot because I just went, hi, how are you? Hi. And she goes, we've just seen each other. When's the last time we saw each other? And I'm in Florida. She goes, yeah, because I got to keep track of when I see people. I'm all, hi, how are you? I had more conversation with her later in the week, but it was just, yeah, I was a dork the first time I went up to her. Yeah, but, what can I say about Zoe? She's always very lovely, and again, I tend to overtalk and ramble nervously too. And by the end of the weekend, I'm like, I'm sorry, I keep bugging you. And she goes, no, you don't bug me a bit. I see you walking by, and I go, oh, there she is, and it makes me happy. And I'm like, oh,
Aww.
thanks.
Aw.
I was just like melt. So, but it was rather amusing dressing up in cosplay on Saturday because it's the first time I'd ever done that, and having long hair, and having to constantly flip it as I get up to everybody at the table. And Zoe was like, oh, you're like Cher. Just flip it. So, it's quite
That
amusing.
was amazing seeing you in your bow costume. I did not it took me a good 15 seconds to realize who you were when you were dressed up as Bo. Like, oh, there's a Bo cosplay. That's Annie.
I did the same thing. I think I told all of you. We were in the like the
Area.
fan meetup room.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting on the far wall so I could see out the entrance, and I saw a cosplayer walking towards the room, and I was like, oh, hey, somebody's dressed as Bo. I glanced down at my phone or something. I look back up. She's in the room. She's maybe halfway into the room. I look up. Holy crap, it's Annie.
Yeah, it was quite an experience putting the makeup on and taking an hour to do that. And yeah, but it was fun. It took a lot of guts for me to do that, but that was the one comment I got over and over again was, I did not recognize you. I went up to Holly and I'm like, hey, Holly, and she goes, oh, Jesus, and just face palms. She was like, I didn't recognize you. You're going to show Anna later, right? I'm like, yeah. But yeah, it was very sweet. Anna said, oh, you make a beautiful bow, and I'm like, oh. So these guys like would see me literally skipping out of each photo op because I had several photo ops, and I'd just be flying around the photo op room going from one to the other, and they're like, you just got out of a photo op again, didn't you? I'm like, yes. So
And I remember you were talking to Anna, I guess on Friday, about cosplaying as Bo and being nervous, and she said to you something like, oh, all you need to be Bo is like eyeliner and a push-up bra.
yeah.
But then you started freaking out about not having a push-up bra, but we won't go into that here.
It was a padded bra, not quite a push-up bra.
It'll do. It'll do.
Yeah,
You looked
yeah.
great. You looked great.
You did.
You did.
But yeah, I feel kind of badly. I only saw Anna, Rachel, and Zoe in this con. I didn't go say hi to the others at their table just because of lines and my back and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I just talked to Anna and Rachel for that same reason. Like, well, not my back, but I had too much other stuff going on, and everybody else
Right.
had lines, and it just, time got away from me this con.
Yeah, it was really surprising. I mean, I would have liked to have done more at this con, but I was like, when you have 6 people there from the cast, the lines take a while. And they're also lovely because they do take a while because they're taking the time to talk to people. I mean, Chris had a long line, Ksenia had everybody had a long line. And Paul Amos was very sweet. He's like, oh, I kind of remember you. I'm all, no, you don't, really? He goes, no, I have a thing for faces because I've met everybody very briefly 2 years ago at Fan Expo. So, but yeah, he's such a sweetie, and we took all the photo ops with flipping off the camera and everything, and like everybody, he gives great hugs. And then I was in Paul's line or Ksenia's line, and Chris Holden Reed's line was a bit too long, so I thought, okay, I'll go back later. And Chris coming out from behind the table for a photo op, and he's like, hey, Annie, and touches me on the shoulder. I'm all, hey, I didn't know you remembered me. He just goes, hey. And Ksenia is very lovely, and I, of course, babbled about Shay, going, I love Shay, but I don't want to admit publicly on Twitter that I love Delphine, and I don't think you shot Delphine. Shay shot Delphine, but I like both of them. But Tatiana can be with everybody because she's Tatiana. She's like, exactly. I just was babbling about my love of Shay, so it was quite funny.
Well, thank you for doing that, because I intended to do that and then never got the
Yeah,
chance
we
to.
never got around over there.
Yeah.
So you, Kevin, you got your. We are in the same boat. We got our first like photo ops this con. How did yours go with Anna and Ksenia?
Yeah, perfectly. Very honestly, it's first, as you said, first time I've ever done a professional photo op, because before the con we didn't think Anna was going to do selfies at the table, and I couldn't miss a chance to get a photo with her. So I did select to do Ksenia and Anna together. And yeah, once Annie was very helpful, kind of giving me the heads up how these kind of work, and I got down there. The first couple of times they were doing them, it conflicted with other stuff, so I couldn't hang. But by Sunday, I had a time block I could do it, and it was very smooth. I mean, they're obviously professionals in the way they move it through, but the two of them, for the very short time I had with them, were very sweet and very nice. I was wearing the same T-shirt. Anna commented on it, thought it was perfect one to use for the photo op, and Ksenia said something about it matching the colors they had on that day or something, and then take the photo and on to the next person. And I was so excited that I didn't screw it up with a bad face or something. I'm not very good at photos sometimes, so I was very pleased with how it turned out.
I think yours is great. Yours turned out
yours
really well.
is really cute. Yeah.
No, thank you. Yeah, I was nervous, not so much at the photo. It was an excitement to do it. It was the next few minutes waiting for it to come out going, Kevin, don't screw it up. I hope you didn't screw it up.
I know. So nerve-wracking.
Yeah, a little nerve-wracking, but yeah. So that was a very, very positive experience for me.
Well, that's good. How was your guys's?
You were there, Annie.
Yeah, I know, but I just wanted you to talk about it because I think it's funny.
Oh, goodness.
I did get one with my friend Jessica. We got one also with Anna and Ksenia. So.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Yeah, how was
It's cute.
it?
Oh, really?
It's cute.
I'll show you later. I don't
Okay.
have it near me, otherwise I'd show you now. But
Yeah, the three of us decided to get a group photo, and that was a thing. And
I'm sorry. No, not sorry.
I've never done one before, but I'm like, okay, most of the cast is here. This is a very unique opportunity. We're all three of us are here. We should get one taken. And so we're standing in line, and one of the women who works for Froggies is kind of overhearing us or something like that. But anyway, she heard that this was my first professional photo op that I had done. And so as we're being ushered into the area to take the picture with the Lost Girl cast, she's like, this is her first photo op. And I'm just like, please don't draw attention to me.
And then I couldn't help it. I'm like, yes, it's her first photo op. I'm like, she said it first, not me. So.
and then I was trying to take the heat off of Stephanie because it was my first photo op too. So I was like, it's my first one too. But nobody paid any attention to me at all.
Nobody cared. They're just like, look at her, look at her, look at her. Like, please don't do this to me. And so
shall we show the photo?
Yeah, show the photo.
But it's cute. It's so cute.
We got a picture taken, and it's kind of a experiment in awkwardness is how I tend to think of it. There's something in there for everybody to laugh at.
There we go. It is my favorite thing ever. This photo.
Okay.
Look at those nerds.
If you want to see the photo, people who are watching live, click on Chris's little. Oh, I can't do that. They can't do that. They can't do that. Never mind.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think
because I can't figure out. Hang on, let me see if I can figure out how to do it. I know there's a way to feature your little thingy.
Little screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, your little screen, but but I can't figure out how that works.
Or you guys can be quiet and I can talk for a second here. Look at those nerds. Look at them.
Dear God.
But it's cute. Well, I was like, why aren't we posting it on the Twitter account? And you're probably like, no.
Oh, I think Stephanie declared that she didn't want, or she's like, I'm not going to do it. You guys can do it.
That's what I said. I was like, y'all can do it. I'm not going to do it. Because, okay, why am I over on the right side just by myself? And the rest of them are crouched way over on the other side. Froggy's photographer. Why did you not have the floor people move to the middle? I look so awkward.
There's this crazy thing that happens during photo ops where they just kind of shove you places and then you just kind of go there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened to us. Because Ksenia just grabbed me and I just kind of said, okay.
And, well, I feel like My partner saw this picture and she's like, did Paul and Rachel have to hold Annie down so she wouldn't spring between Anna and Zoe? Like, I want to be in that sandwich.
I didn't think of it that way. I was just like, oh, they're on the floor. I'll go on the floor. And then I'm like, my knees hurt. I can't do this much longer. So.
But they just look so happy to be holding on to you.
They do.
Yeah.
And
very nice to be in a dark sandwich, I will tell you.
and I liked Chris's friend Jessica said, I think I'd buy that condo that Chris and Paul are trying to sell me. I'd buy it.
They totally do look like they're in a pernad, and I
They
think
do.
Rachel's in there with them.
Yeah, I think so too. Or in a toothpaste ad. Could you take the picture down, Chris? Can you take
No, I think we should just leave it here for the rest of the
I think it's great because, as one of you said, there's something there for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great because Ksenia's super cool.
I know, because Ksenia is super cool.
I know she is.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
coolest
I'm not
of
cool
those
enough to be
dorks.
standing next to Ksenia, but okay.
But then
And then there's the awkward thing where I'm like trying to like put my hand on, and then I kind of got halfway in between Ksenia and Zoe, so then it's like suddenly my hand's on Zoe's shoulder, and I'm like, is this weird? This seems like it's probably weird.
Well, I clearly don't know what to do with my hands. You look way cooler than I do in the hands department. They also, I
In
think,
the hands department.
I think they also caught me mid-laugh because, and y'all are going to tease me for it, but when I take
I already
pictures
did
with
tease you
people, I try to, like, laugh before they take the picture because then my smile looks more genuine. And then,
Yeah,
they're like,
me too.
so you force a laugh to make your smile look genuine, Stephanie. A little weird.
Well, it's not as bad as mine because I had individual photo ops with people, and I have the same exact expression, but I'm like, okay, be wide-eyed in the photo. Don't have Asian squinty eyes, which I sometimes do if I smile too wide. So then my eyes just get wider and wider and wider. And then if you look at the shot from like, Ksenia and Chris and Rachel, and then Zoe, it looks horrible. So I just look so wide-eyed and way too happy and a little scary. So that one.
You do look very enthusiastic in the one with
Yes.
Zoe. You're like,
Yes. Way too much, Annie. But But it was fun doing photo ops as Bo because that was like I said, I was trying to be creative, so I had the rune glass with Rachel, and then with Anna I said let's do our superhero pose. So we're kind of doing a superhero pose, and then
I don't think I've seen those. You'll have to show them to me later.
I will show them to you, and then or I posted them briefly on Twitter, but and then with Zoe, I had to do like special delivery, and you're like, you guys are looking at my DragonCon schedule on the app, and you're all, I see you wrote flowers, Annie. I went and I got a rose, so I had to find a florist. Fortunately, there was one in the food court, and I'm like, I'm going to be Bo and be a romantic, and as Bo, present Zoe with a rose. So that came out really cute because Zoe is making this really cute expression. But it's rather interesting to carry around a rose all day, making sure it doesn't get crushed. But yeah, I gave it to her later. And then I had an extra because I was like, I have to have a backup rose just in case. And I gave it to Anna later on the last day. And she goes, yeah, I saw you had a rose for Zoe. I was kind of jealous, so I'm glad to have one.
Aw, sweet.
But yeah, that was sweet. And then I had
one last thing about our group photo op, just real quickly. So they take the picture, and then we turn to leave, and Anna says, she was the only one, Anna said, thank you, and then I feel like I just stared at her like she was a potato or something like that, because I had no idea how to respond. I was just like, and I walked away.
Well,
Anna was saying thank you to everybody after the photo op, and it was just because Jessica and I were standing there watching her, and it's like, I think Jessica said something about, I don't know how she's being this nice to every single person. I would be so done with everybody by now.
Yeah. But I think it was funny. I almost had a disaster doing my Docubus photo op because I said, I was like, I hope I can ask them to do this. I said, can we do the sandwich photo from, like the promo shot where Bo's in the middle and Dyson and Lauren are kind of wrapped around her with their legs. So they did that, and I was like, oh my god. So we're all on one leg, And then when we put our legs down, I swear, I almost tipped both of them over. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, you guys. That would have been a disaster. And they're just laughing, and I'm like, oh my God, I would have. Oh, that was horrible. So, but then I turned to leave. I think it was from one of my photo ops, and Zoe's like, come back here, and gives me a hug. And I was like, oh, thank you. Floated out of the photo op. But
I get no
they're
hugs.
so.
I get no hugs.
And then did you do your little dance, Annie?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It was more of like a floaty dance because I was just I was literally skipping along, I think, during coming out of some of the photo ops.
Annie was dancing in line when we were waiting for our photo. I've never seen Annie that happy before. That was pretty good.
Yeah, you guys.
It was kind of awesome.
Using me. Yeah. So.
Well, it was
Hi,
really.
Meg. Twitter.
Well, it was really great to see other people's photo ops as well. I saw one. I forget who she was. I'm sorry. I met a lot of people and I don't remember all the names. But she got them to do like she was Pietra in between Bo and Lauren, and the faces that Anna and Zoe made for like their freaked out faces, like, oh my God, they were pretty great. It was a great photo.
That was Leah, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But oh God, who else was it? Hold on.
I don't know that I'll ever be brave enough to ask them to like do stuff for me. I don't want to be like, dance, monkey, dance. I feel like, you know.
That's funny.
But they seem to be game for stuff. I don't know. I get shy.
Yeah.
Me too.
I
might stand here now.
I know. But you know, they're very, very. All of them are very sweet to say, well, would you mind doing this? And I always say, you don't have to if you don't want to. But one of the best photo ops I saw was from KT Carroll. And on Twitter, and she has a photo op where she's in the middle, and Zoe and Anna, she said, can you pretend to like fight over me? So they're both like pulling her in opposite directions, and their expressions are so funny. And so she had them sign it later, and she showed it to me, and Anna wrote, she's mine, and Zoe wrote, not on your goddamn life. It's so funny.
Nice.
So,
I also saw a great one that Bonnie, who did the awesome Thank You Lost Girl song, when she did a photo op with the ladies, she had them do like their best Charlie's Angel pose. So it was really cute with her in the middle of that. So that was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I would never, much like you, I'm just glad I didn't fall over or screw it up. So I wouldn't be able to ask for anything.
I almost did, so that's the last time I'm asking for that one. So.
Next time I'll know. I'll be like, can I stand behind y'all? Let me just stand behind y'all. That way,
I just want to be a polyp on somebody's shoulder. Yeah.
If I have awkward hands, nobody can tell. Well, did we want to go ahead and talk about our live recording of Drinks at the Doll? Because that went surprisingly well. And we had some people who showed up. We had kind of an unfortunate thing happen where we had kind of a bad time slot to begin with. It was early Sunday morning when most people are hungover. And it also was scheduled against the Lost Girl photo ops. And things just happen, you know. We just couldn't predict it. But we still had a few people who showed up. So thank you, if any of you are watching this. Thank you for showing up to the actual event. We appreciate it, including Kevin. Thank you, Kevin.
I know he ran over after his photo op.
Yeah, that was the same thing. I was in that photo op line. So I was glad it went quick so I could at least get over for the last half and the last quarter of it.
Did you sprint over or something?
I know.
I'm surprised you got there so early.
No,
That's a very fast walker.
Well, I am. I'm a very fast walker from years of experience, but also it helped that where the photo op was in the Marriott, which was very close to the bridge to where you folks were at in the Hilton. So it was only a 5-minute walk.
True.
So
okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that far to get. So I wasn't even sure I was going to get there in time because I had such great experience with the photo op. I didn't even look at my watch. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a shot. I'll see if I get there before it ends.
But I thought it went really well, and, you know, big thank you to the podcasting track for managing our sound and giving us a recording and stuff like that. We are going to post that as a podcast episode in our feed soon. It's just, you know, it's the weekend after DragonCon, and now I get to deal with all my audio files. This weekend. And, you know, Chris's friend Jessica almost made me cry, even. People were so lovely. They said such nice things, and it was it was overwhelming. So thank you for everybody who came. And for those who listen live, I know some people watched us or listened to us live. So thank you so much for your support. We really do appreciate all of you for taking the time to listen to our nonsense. Like, it's amazing that y'all are
Appreciate
interested.
it tons. Like,
Yeah.
Sincerely,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes, we do. And it was, yeah, it was funny though because I thought, oh, live, because we get up there, and I'm like, oh, I'm in a position of power. I have a microphone. It was kind of a thrill for me anyway. I'm like, I'm on a podium.
Oh,
I'm on a,
so like you have
or-
a microphone now,
I was
Annie.
gonna say.
I know, but I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. So maybe I'll get addicted to doing panels. Actually, no. But I
Doing
get up
panels
there.
is pretty fun.
It is fun.
I get up there and there's this piece of paper saying, by the way, you're being live streamed. You can, tell people about it at this link. And I saw that Chris had already tweeted out the link. I didn't know until afterwards. I'm like, oh, it's podcasting. It's audio only. And I get this screen grab from Sally going, oh, crap. It was video too? I mean, of course I would be the last to know or
What
think
did you
about
think that thing was in
I
front of
don't
us?
know.
Eddie?
I thought it was like audio, podcasting, audio, but anyway. But it
That's
was
what the
quite amusing.
microphones were for.
I know, it just didn't make any sense to me. So, it's me. But I thought it was great that some people did watch, and some people asked questions during the podcast, and I thought we did a really good job of saying what was going to happen in season 5 and where we thought all the characters would go, without giving spoilers or anything. But I thought we had a good discussion. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I made
But
the
would
sound
do it
guy
again.
laugh once, which was
Yeah,
good.
that was the thing, because neither of the sound people, I think actually only one of them stayed through the entire podcast, but he didn't watch Lost Girl. He had no idea what we were talking about, but Chris made him laugh.
Score!
That was really the highlight,
Yeah.
I mean, you all looked, by the time I got there, the three of you looked very natural doing it. I know some of you were a little nervous about it, but it looked like you were, regular pros at it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We tried our best to pretend not to be as awkward as we are.
Well, we had, I think, to some extent, having a small audience helped, and we
Yeah.
already knew half of them, so...
That was good.
It's true. It's true. We thought
If
for
it
a
had been a
minute it
bigger
would just
audience,
been,
I would have. Yeah.
we thought for a minute it would just be Chris's friend Jessica, and we were going to be like, Jessica, come up here. We're not going to have an audience of one talking to you. That'd be awkward. We did get a few people who came, so thank you again to everybody who came and watched and gave your support. We really appreciate it. And again, that audio is going to be released in our feed soon as I can.
Well, I think it was even more fun, if not awkward / hilarious, doing our long recording of 509, punchy and exhausted in our hotel room on Monday night of the con. That was our, not live Drinks at the Doll, but that was fun. That was fun to do.
It was. So how about the fan panel, Kevin? You want to talk a bit about that?
Oh, sure. Always great in Carol Malcolm's Urban Fantasy track, doing a Lost Girl fan panel. Several of us were on the panel to talk about the show, along with Carol. Stephanie was there, and Stephanie Lynn, and several other folks. So it's always engaging. Carol throws out questions to us. She likes to do moderated panels, so it's just kind of a chance to react to some questions discussing the show and this season and such. So unfortunately, again, much like with the live Drinks of the Doll, we ended up with a Lost Girl fan panel right in the middle of another Lost Girl professional photo op shoot, so that probably kept our audience numbers way down from where they could have been. But it was a good crowd. We had some good questions. It's always a blast talking about the show and getting to highlight Encyclopedia Stephanie by having people, bring up episodes, and you very quickly are able to throw out season and title. So I always look forward to that.
I want to, because
people
Paul will
challenge
do
you?
that. Paul will do that on the panels. Paul Amos will do that on the panels. If one of the other people mentions an episode, he'll be like, that was episode blah, blah, blah. It's called blah, blah, blah. And I wouldn't be like, Paul, you and I, we need to do an episode number off. Come on.
Who are you? If we did a trivia off, that would be pretty amazing to watch.
But thank you to everybody who came to the fan panel. And I also really liked the fan gathering, which was kind of a last-minute thing that got thrown on the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, a big thank you to Carol Malcolm for being able to come up with a room for us to do that. To be able to find time on there was kind of offbeat over in the Sheraton. But at least we had a room. We had, I think, 40 or 50 folks just show up. It was very casual, just kind of come hang out, get a chance to meet the folks you probably talked to on Twitter or Facebook.
Right.
So it was very casual. There was no real presentation. I mean, a little discussion of the show, but it was just kind of neat to be able to actually see some of the people we all talk to so often that way. So that was nice to do. I really enjoyed that whenever we've had the chance to do that. It's been a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And have a few, including Annie, a few of the cosplayers there. Stephanie Lynn, who always does an awesome job every year, and some of the other folks. So it was great for me to get some photos with them as well.
Yeah, it was very odd getting photos taken of me. I'm like, oh, okay. But that was fun.
And we did get a few listeners come and say hi, so thanks to all of you who did that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we were lucky enough to get 4 cast panels this year, which was crazy. Usually they don't do one past couple of years, they haven't done one on Friday, so it was amazing to get 4 of them. And as always, this cast is just so delightful to go and watch. And because actually I think, it's been clear several times as we've been talking, just it's lovely to see them be together. It's not just like, oh, it's Anna Silk, oh, it's Zoe Palmer. It's like seeing them interact with each other. It's just so much fun. And I think it was actually on the fan panel that I remembered that I had read about Lost Girl before I started watching. I had read the description and thought, oh, this sounds interesting. This sounds like a descendant of Buffy. I think I'd really like this. But I actually watched a video from the Fan Expo panel that they did after season 1 aired, I believe. And watching that panel was really what cinched the deal for me. I'm like, oh, these people are like delightful goofballs and smartasses. I need to watch this show. And so I really do think that, Lost Girl has some good storytelling in it and things like that as well. It's doing some interesting things, but I really just think this cast is the gem of the show. Just their chemistry with each other is so incredible.
I was telling Stephanie, I think was it on the way home or was it on the way there? I don't remember. But I was telling her that I had watched the series on Sci-Fi as it was airing, and then at some point during that, I had watched, again, a cast interview or something like that, and I think it was that moment, watching the cast interviews, where I was just kind of like, this is my thing now.
Right, yeah.
It's like, because, I mean, I liked the show, I liked it a lot, but seeing them together, it's kind of like, oh, I feel really... like I'm attached and deeply invested now. Like these are fun, nice people. I want to be associated with this somehow. You know what I mean? Like this is a thing worth being really fanny about.
Yeah, investing your time and your energy in. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's terrible when it's like you really are into a thing and then you realize the people making it are jerks. You're just like, oh, dang it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that chemistry, and as you said, the ability to have 4 cast panels, and for many of us to be able to get to all of them or many of them, to see them in different approaches, to see different questions, to see how they have fun with similar questions and other things, and also the fun they had just entering the room. They always had something fun up their sleeve. I mean, one time they burst in from the back of the room running up to the table.
Five people, yeah.
I actually happened to be at the back of the room when they did that, because it was the strangest thing. I was sitting there, and then out the corner of my eye, I was like, that looks like Ksenia Solo. That is Ksenia Solo! and then like Anna and Zoe and Chris came like running up the aisles behind me, like, this is gonna be fun! Cute goofballs.
Yeah. That's what really, at DragonCon, unlike many of the other conventions where a little more corporate, you might get one Q&A panel in the course of a whole weekend to have, as you said, Stephanie. Like yeah, to have one every day during con, and with the exception of, what was it, Monday, when Ksenia had left a little earlier, it was all of them. Mm-hmm. Not only all of them, there was even one day when was it Zoe called out to a couple of the other cast members who weren't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that to literally be able to just dial them up at home and see how they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
So, pretty amazing stuff.
What was your favorite moment one of your favorite moments of the panels, Kevin?
Well, and if you're on Twitter, you've already seen the photo probably 1,000 times. When someone asked Anna about, some advice if you were a young actress, what you should do, and both Zoe and Ksenia just, had fun with it by getting, putting their head on their arms and swooning over her like, oh, do tell us. I mean, it was a perfect example of how they have fun with each other, and that was just really, to me, a nice quintessential moment.
I think Zoe prefaced it with, say the exact right thing. And then
Yeah, of course.
How about you, Chris? What was one of your favorite moments?
Pardon me. I think I have to go with what's your favorite go-to dance move?
That was
Oh,
good.
yeah.
That was really good.
Because it was a demonstration question, so
Those were
we
good.
got to see everybody's go-to dance moves, and they were pretty funny.
Pretty funny.
I
Yeah.
like to get up and try to ask questions at panels. I need to think of more questions that require demonstrations because those are always my favorite.
Yeah, my favorite was when the rest of the cast would just talk about how much they loved each other, or they were complimenting Anna on what a fabulous lead she was for the show, and Anna got emotional and needed Kleenex, and I think on the Monday panel at one point, because Zoe was sitting next to her, she just leaned over and hugged her and gave her a kiss, so that's been tweeted a million times, that picture. But
That's
You know,
actually
just-
from another moment. That was my
It
favorite
was.
moment.
yeah,
But it was great
Those were very sweet
hearing.
moments, though.
Yeah, and seeing Anna just get so emotional about the
she's
nice
so
things.
genuine. Yeah,
She is, because we've been to a bunch of these panels before, and they almost always compliment Anna. I
Yeah.
feel like we haven't been to a panel where they haven't said something really complimentary about Anna. So it was nice that she was there and got to hear them say it and see her react to it.
yeah. And I really have to thank Carol Malcolm, not just for all the work she does putting on the panels and all the work she does with her volunteers, but both when Stephanie came up and when I came up, she would ask, "Is that Stephanie?" And then she asked me when I asked my question after you, "Is that Annie? Is that Chris? Oh no, is that Annie?"
And then Chris is sitting in her seat thinking, don't put that question on me. I wouldn't ask that.
I know, it's like, Carol, have you seen our show? Who would be asking a question about Doccubus sex scenes? Clearly, it's Annie.
Well, I was just thinking the dark hair, whatever. Yeah, that's true. But and then she goes, "This is Stephanie from Drinks at the Doll. This is Annie from Drinks at the Doll." And she said it twice because I asked a question on the first day, I think, and then on Monday. And I was like, "Carol, you rock." I just really, in front of 1,500 fans or however many it was, and the cast.
The cast
mentioned our
applauded us.
I know,
Like,
that was
"Oh,
super
God."
weird seeing the
It was
cast
a weird
applaud.
podcast, but for Carol to take that step, that was really sweet of her. So I
Yeah.
really thank her. I wanted to get a picture with her, but she's too busy running around. So, Kevin, you have to pass on our thanks again.
Will do. Absolutely will do. Carol, yes, she works very, very hard, and she knows how much we all love Lost Girl. So, again, kudos, not only because what tends to happen at DragonCon when you have a few cast members from a show come and your track, as many of the tracks are just overloaded as it is, that usually means, oh, cast members are here, we're not going to do a fan panel. And many of them never even do a fan gathering. So to get both of those fan events and 4 cast panels, I'm sorry, as sappy as I got near the end of con, I had to pinch myself and say, wow, I mean, we had a pretty unique experience, those of us who were lucky enough to be there, and Carol played a big part in making that happen.
And I think that was one thing that you've mentioned, Kevin, is that if people want to see this keep happening during DragonCon when it comes to the Lost Girl cast, is to rate the panels through the app and to give Carol feedback on the Facebook page or whatnot, saying we'd like to see these people back, and this show I think will continue to have legs and continue to remain popular, and hopefully the cast will still want to come to events like DragonCon even after Lost Girl's off the air, because they're still doing a lot of shows with a lot of genre work or whatnot, and they still have a huge fan base. So
And they do really good panels. Like, I was hearing people say in line, like, yeah, I've heard they do really good panels. So
yeah.
hopefully that means that they'll continue to be invited to such things even after the show is over.
Yeah, it was really great too. Talking about another moment was at some point when someone, as many people did when they'd ask their question, they'd thank them for being here and tell them how much they appreciated them there. And I think it might have been Chris said at one point, well, we have to thank you guys. I mean, we haven't seen each other for like 9 months as a group because, they're all talented people now. They've moved on to other things, many of them. So the fact that the show is so popular and so many people wanted to see them, I mean, they got a chance to hang out together. Like you said a little earlier, the ovation and the fun they had when Zoe first showed up at the Walk of Fame, they were friends just genuinely glad to see each other. And the fact that they could all sit on a panel and be goofballs and have fun with us, they appreciated it. I mean, they genuinely appreciated it. So to think that we could all play a small part in that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, my favorite part on the panels, which I'm sure people have seen on Twitter by now, is the Anna's muffins interaction. Because I have a dirty sense of humor, and oh my gosh, that was hilarious.
Let's face it, who hasn't had a bit of Anna's muffins?
Yeah. We've all had a little of Anna's muffins, yeah. I was telling Chris afterward, like, the Monday panels tend to be my favorites, A, because they're a little bit smaller of a crowd, so it's not as much of a hassle trying to get into them, and also just the cast by that point, they're a little tired, I'm sure, but also just they're kind of used to the environment, and they just feel a little more relaxed and open, because they were really sweet and appreciative on Monday talking. I think that was when Chris mentioned, thank you guys for bringing us all together, and we really appreciate y'all as fans, and so the Monday panel was my favorite.
And I think it is one of those things, like, they've met most of the people in the room by then, so, yeah. And Bonnie tweeted us and said, favorite moment of the panels was when I asked them if they would be in for making a movie, and they all said yes.
Yes, that was nice.
Absolutely.
I also really liked the question somebody asked about how are you least like your characters, and when Anna was having trouble thinking of an answer, someone was like, well, you don't tend to have sex with strangers in bathrooms, and she said, not anymore. Yeah. It's just always surprising me.
From Anna?
I know. Yeah. Anna seems to be a fairly, happy, upbeat, wholesome person, and when she says something a little bit mischievous or dirty like that, they're just my favorite moments.
I know. I mean, even the cast was joking about it because they were talking about when they were all live tweeting an episode, and somebody asked Rachel, what's her favorite line? And she goes, sack of tits. And she goes, by the end of the night, it had just devolved, and even Anna was saying tits.
I also love, too, this was my first chance to see Zoe at a con. And she is sharp as a tack with the lines and having fun with everyone. Man, she just had it coming left and right. Anybody left themselves open, she jumped on it.
Her sense of humor is just something unique.
Yeah. Great sense of humor.
What I wouldn't have given to be up there in Carol's shoes at the point where she was talking about, I think the question was, what other character on the show would you like to play? And Zoe said she'd actually like to play the Morrigan. And I think the way she phrased it of like, and I think that's just something I'd really like to tackle or to take on or something like that. And if I had been in Carol's shoes, I would have been like, I thought Lauren already did that. Isn't that how she became human? But anyway, I wasn't. Carol would hate me, though, probably. If she ever gave me a microphone to the panel, I would just be making these little comments.
Well, at one point she did say, talking about that scene or whatever, she goes, I just went down on her or something. I'm like, oh my God. But I think it's so
funny. But like the fan in me is like, that's actually not how the Morrigan became a human, Lauren. She actually went down on you. Get it right.
Oh, geez, Stephanie. But I just think, Zoe is just too funny because at one point she, it's actually my friend Danny, Docubus Danny on Twitter, that she was talking about when they were talking about, they're all, what's the most intense fan experience you've had? And they're all, and Ksenia's like, tattoos. And I'm kind of shrinking down in my seat going, oh, great, I'm one of those fans. It's really intense when people get tattoos. I'm all... But
we were all thinking about Annie when they said that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I know they were all thinking about me, but Zoe was talking about how a fan, she had her sign her arm and then later came back and had it tattooed, and she's like, look what I did! The fan's like, and then Zoe's like, oh my God. But I'm like, I know who that person is. That's Danny. And she's, and she's so funny. I said, Zoe mentioned your tattoo again. She's like, oh my God, what? Where's the video? So I sent her the clip. But I have the most hilarious pictures talk, because normally how you say there's Rach face, I have a few of those pictures. No, in that point, it's like a Zoe face. So they're hilarious. I might post them later, but anyway. But yeah, it's always fun. You know, I took like 1,500 photos and got like a few good ones. So most of them are crap, but I'm an amateur photographer. But it was fun trying to see, you know, you look at your photos later going, oh, I remember what this point of the in the panel this was. But yeah, the panels are always a blast.
I also appreciated I went up and I asked a couple of questions, and I tweeted on Twitter already, but in case you didn't see, I did resolve the what is the height difference between Anna and Zoe question. Because I just
You were all
offhandedly...
over that on like Friday morning. You wanted to make sure you got that in somewhere.
Well, because I offhandedly the other week I tweeted a picture of the two of them, like, you know, eternal question, what is the height difference between the two of them? And we got so much response to that.
I know.
And so I asked, and what they said from their own mouths, Zoe's 5'6", which she had said before, and Anna is just under 5'5". So there we go. Now we know. And Anna must wear really tall shoes because, oh my gosh, she's so tall compared to Zoe in some scenes. She's like, what is happening? But so I was glad to get that answered.
Wasn't that what one of them said? Was like, have you seen the shoes she wears?
I know, that's what I was saying or something. But it was so funny because I asked them, what am I going to ask? What am I going to ask? For weeks I was thinking of a question. I didn't have one. Then I'm like, oh, I'll ask him about bloopers during any sex scenes, if that's okay. I hope they don't find that offensive. And well, I was babbling so much, and so I had to repeat my question.
I know.
Then I was like, oh. So I repeated it, and you know, Anna was talking about how during the first scene in Vexed, where she's pulling the necklace off of, you know, Bo's pulling the necklace off of Lauren. Nobody owns you, and she goes, it wouldn't pull, and it's always like, yeah, and you almost took my neck off. But within like an hour, I saw later on my Twitter, someone had posted the video of just that question, and somebody had, you know, I got my notifications, and somebody had messaged me going, bless you, I've been wondering about that for years, and I'm like, I guess that's a popular question. So I found that amusing.
And then I also asked a really fangirly one, though I did try to like temper it with a question I thought they could answer, even if they had no idea what I was talking about. But I was pretty pleased with my answer, because I asked about the fact that we actually don't see Kenzie and Lauren meet. We just see them in the fourth episode in Fatal Attraction, and it's clear they've met each other. Like, Kenzie has an opinion of Lauren, but we actually don't see the scene where they meet. But when I said this to them, I see their heads like going around really frantically, like we don't see it on scene. What's she talking about? Like,
yeah,
they were like these little birds with their heads rotating frantically. I was like, oh no, they don't remember. That's okay. But they ended up asking me what I thought their meeting went, and yeah, so that went pretty well, I thought.
And then you said shit, and then they started talking about the fact that you said shit.
Yeah. I didn't mean to, it just kind of came out, but hey, they were cursing way worse than that.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Oh,
That's true.
Yeah, no, anything goes with that, and it was just a natural way for it to come out. So it was, and for the most part, really, once you have 4 panels with the same cast, sometimes, as you kind of said too, by the time you get to Sunday or Monday, it's either the same questions coming back because some folks were only there for one day, or you get, unfortunately, some of the ones where they are cringeworthy ones. But I thought, for the most part, there were some great questions.
I agree. We were talking about that on the way home, because usually there's a lot of repeat questions from day to day, but I didn't really have that experience. There was a lot of, it seemed like really questions I hadn't heard 1,000 times before at other panels. So good job, question askers. You did a good job.
Yeah.
Except you're going, Annie, your questions were too creepy. Your questions were too weird.
I buried my face between my knees when you were asking. I was like, oh no. Oh. I embarrass easily, though, so that's just me.
I did apologize to Anna later. I said, I really hope that wasn't a bad question. She goes, oh, no. She goes, it was funny that chain was supposed to be a breakaway with a piece of tape, but it still wouldn't come off. I said, because I had my own Light Fae necklace on. I said, yeah, this thing is pretty strong. She goes, yeah, it is.
And that was a moment where I was just like, Anna Silk is the best, because she usually will come up with a good answer for things, even if it's kind of a weird question. She will really try to come up with a good answer.
Yeah.
So
She just called your question weird, Annie.
No, I
Yeah, I know,
didn't.
I know.
No, I
I'm
didn't.
teasing.
I know. And then what was your second question, Annie, besides the bloopers
Um,
one?
just something I knew they'd been asked before, but I just wanted to kind of hear at the end of the weekend just what was the experience they would take away from this Lost Girl fandom as they go throughout their careers. Because, just a sappy, mushy question. But again,
You?
that's where they...
Sentimental?
Shut up.
Never.
But no, that's where they said they really appreciated that they got to see each other because of these types of events. So
Aw. And then we all got to feel good about everything.
We did.
yeah,
We did. But the videos of the panels are floating around. I will post links to all of those in show notes when I post this episode. So if you haven't seen them yet, you can go and watch them. They're worth watching. There's entertaining stuff there. They're always entertaining. The cast, not the four of them. There were six of them there, but you know what I mean.
And it was also great, and I can't do it justice by having the whole list of names, but naturally with Anna being added and the excitement, there were a ton of people I got to meet, fans. The lines were great in the sense of, we sometimes joke about them being line parties. But new people I had never met that I was in line with, you could strike up a conversation, several other fans that were so excited ahead of time. And I got lots of kudos for the prep Google Hangout that the four of us did ahead of con.
yeah, we
A lot of
did.
folks that I didn't even know. Maybe I'd had one tweet to or from them who came up to me and said, thank you, that what you folks did really helped me get the most out of the con. So I was glad to hear that. And it was great to see a lot of these folks, too. The fellow fans, whether the meetup, the fan panel, or at any of these cast things. I mean, it was just a positive experience all around, and great to meet so many of you, too.
And I'm echoing the same sentiment because it's like, Paulina came up to us who traveled from Brazil, gave me and Chris like little gifts, and she had all of her notes, written down and wanted to make sure where everything was and double checked with us. And people like Bonnie came up in her cosplay, and I really have to apologize to people that I saw that might have said, I said hi to you earlier in the day, and I was so exhausted by that point. It's like the end of the day, I'm in my cosplay, I'm dying to take off my boots, and I'm like, I did? I'm sorry, what's your name again? And I must have sounded drunk, but I just, I really appreciate everybody who came up to any of us and said thank you or hello, and it's just, the fandom is just one of the best parts about this.
Absolutely. It was really great when people would come up and say hi to us and to get to see people that we'd only interacted with online. I also feel like I should apologize if we were less forthcoming on Monday. All three of us are big introverts, and by then we were just like, people, there's so many people.
I think it was more the exhaustion too.
That too.
Yeah.
But I was just having I need to be by myself for a while.
Yeah.
So, but it was a great time, and thank you again to everybody who came up to say hi to us. A couple of people even gave us donations. Thank you to I think it was Aaron and
Katie, yeah.
Katie, who gave us donations. Thank you for doing that. Like, really, we just really appreciate y'all saying hi to us and for your support of the podcast. We just can't say thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's pretty special to have an event like this and to be able to share it with lots of friends, some that you've never met before and some that you feel like you know very well, even if you haven't met them, and certainly to be able to hang out with the three of you and everyone else. This was a pretty special experience.
Mm-hmm.
Group hug.
Group hug.
Virtual hug.
Virtual
Hug
group
now?
Yes, hug now. I did give Annie a hug now after you talked to Anna, because Anna seemed upset, so I'm like, Annie's probably upset. I'll give her a hug.
I'm not upset. I was emotional, but
emotional. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Not like.
I know, but I
It's the same thing to
it's same thing. It's the whole same thing.
No, Kevin was being so nice on Monday. I was like, I'm feeling feelings, Kevin. This isn't comfortable.
Well, it's the same as you were saying. By Monday, the exhaustion and the enjoyment, I just wanted to make sure to say it. I'm sorry, it's pretty special. A lot of things go haywire in life for a lot of folks, and we got to experience something together, which, and as friends, that's pretty special. You never know when those moments might come again. I didn't want to not say thank you to specifically the three of you or anyone else, too, because and that's why I'm still on a bit of a con high. I've 11 years, and I'm still having a better time each time I go, and this certainly had to be right up there for it. And yeah, and again, I can't thank, and it's not joking, I can't thank Chris enough in that line, because no, for a guy who's met many celebrities and been on a few panels with them, and Ksenia was the big thing for me last year, but for, when I got that close to Anna for the first time, I'm sorry, I was having to do the breathe in, Kev, breathe out, breathe in, and Chris was right there to pat me on the back. Oh, you'll be fine. Good. Okay, that's all I needed. So, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could help. I didn't feel like I was helping, but I guess I'm glad that I did.
Yeah, Chris took care of both of us in that line. So thank you.
Yes.
I don't know what happened.
Are we ready
It doesn't seem right, but
Are we ready to wrap up? I'm sorry, Chris. I keep talking over you. I don't mean to.
it's fine.
But are we ready to wrap up?
Think so.
Okay. Well, thank you all for listening to our recap of our recap, not a recup. Recap.
It could be.
Could be a recap. Thank you. Oh, by the way,
stick, so we had to recup.
speaking of cups, I want to give a shout out to Somewhat Addicted, who gave me a shot of scotch when we were in line together. Thank you.
Is that why you were calm when you talked to Rachel?
I'm sure that helps. I'm sure that helps.
Yes.
I wish I'd had a shot of scotch. I should stand in line with her more often. Then I would have been even more of a mess, but yeah.
There was also a woman who I have no idea who she was, but she shared a beer with me. Thank you to her, too, even though she's not listening. But thank you all for listening to our recap of our DragonCon experience. If you have any fun stories to share, we would love to hear them. You can go and leave a comment on the show notes for this episode over at drinkswiththedoll.com. You can send us an email to feedback@drinkswiththedoll.com. You can also call and leave a message on our listener voicemail line at 972-514-7223. Thank you again to Kevin for being here and joining us for this discussion. And thank you for forcing us to go to DragonCon, which is kind of 2-3 years
Not
ago.
actually what happened.
He was strongly encouraging.
A small part in doing that. It's been a blast. It always is talking to the three of you.
And remember to check out Kevin's podcast over at tuningintosci-fi-tv.com. I'm so glad you could join us for Drinks with the Doll. My name is Stephanie.
And I'm Annie.
And shout out to my buddy Jessica, who was my keeper all weekend. Thank you.
Yay!
Yes.
And my name
right.
is Chris.
Thanks for listening. Cheers.